Good evening, and happy Tuesday, and welcome to this edition of the Leadership Edge. And I'm your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder. The Leadership Edge is dedicated to talking leadership, all things leadership. We try to talk about leadership from every different perspective to give information regarding leadership. The whole idea, purpose behind it is to give you that edge that you may need, amen, for your leadership portfolio. So if you view this podcast and stay tuned to it, you're going to learn some things about leadership that will help you in your leadership journey. Again, thanks for tuning in. You're watching me on BGTV Studios. Before we go on any further, do me a couple of favors. Number one, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the follow button. Also, you see, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and do all those things so we can lock you in and you'll be connected with us at BGTV Studios. And anytime that we go live with any of these podcasts, this network is mushrooming, it's growing, and you want to be a part of that growth. So go ahead, like, share, and do all of those things. All right? Thank you very much. Now, let's talk leadership. We're going to talk. We've been talking for the last 4 weeks. Today is week number 5. Observations on leadership. That's what we've titled it. So it's be Observation on Leadership, Part 5. The whole idea was I was giving you some various observations I have on leadership. Very, very informal. As a matter of fact, I have on my website, in my product area, there's actually a download of a teaching called Observation on Leadership. And most people use this one if you want to know anything about P. Ronald Wilder or be introduced to my leadership teachings and what I do. A great place to start would be with that download of Observations on Leadership. That's what I'm talking about. What we've been doing is painting the picture of what a leader looks like, okay? And we want to continue painting that picture, okay? I gave you several things that leaders look like. You can see what they do. Leaders make things happen. Leaders see and they seize opportunities. Leaders influence others. We've discussed all of these in the previous shows. Leaders add value to you. They increase you. Leaders provide ideas to help the organization, okay? All of those things leaders do. If you have people around you to claim they're leaders and you don't see none of those things in their life, then you're probably not dealing with a true leader, okay? So there's several other things. I think I have about 3 more that we want to discuss today, and that will give us a true picture of what this leader looks like. Now, all right, the next thing that leaders do is that leaders possess an uncommon great attitude. Leaders possess an uncommon great attitude. And attitude is basically all about how we approach things, okay? Another thing about attitude is nobody is responsible for your attitude but you. You are the sole person responsible for your attitude. You can't blame me for your attitude. Can't blame the next person. Now, they may have suggested certain things to you, but for your attitude to shift that way, you had to embrace it. They can't take control of your attitude and cause your attitude to do anything. You are in control of that, okay? Real leaders have a great attitude. They approach life differently. You can always tell the difference between leaders and followers because of how they approach things, how they approach life. Followers seem to just accept life. In other words, whatever it will be, will be. Whatever happens, it is. They just accept it. They just accept that this is my lot, this is my plot in life, and there's nothing I can do about it. That's what followers do. Whereas leaders have a tendency to want to change life. They'll see something and they'll realize this is not what I want, this is not the best for me, and I'm not going to just accept this, I'm going to change this situation. Leaders are all about, they are all about change. They're all about bringing things to a swift change. And so that's what they do. Leaders change things. Now, here's the deal about attitude. They're not for sale. You can't buy a good attitude for $1 million because attitudes are not for sale. Attitudes are developed. Attitudes are developed within the context and character of a person. So I can't pay for a good attitude. I can't buy a good attitude. Either I have one or I don't. That's the bottom line. But leaders, they bring that to the table. They bring a good attitude to the table because they realize the value of a good attitude. They realize the necessity of a good attitude. They realize that there's no altitude without attitude. So they realize all these things. So they know coming into the situation that if I go here with the wrong attitude, we're going to accomplish nothing. So leaders possess a good attitude. Because they possess this good attitude, they are resilient. They are resilient. Leaders are resilient against the storms of life. See, it doesn't mean because you're a leader, the storms of life don't come at you. They come at all of us, no matter how anointed you are, no matter how gifted, how talented, how much Bible you know, how much money you have. The storms of life are not prejudice. No one has a patent on the storms of life. They hit the high and the low, the rich and the poor, the just and the unjust, okay? The difference is leaders who possess an uncommonly good attitude, they are resilient to the storms of life, okay? They don't allow the storms of life to take them out. They don't allow the storms of life to derail them, okay? They just don't do it. Because what leaders learn to do, they have coping skills. They realize that opposition, my phone's acting up here, hold on, y'all. They realize that opposition is a part of the process. They realize that, okay? They realize that. But they cope. They have coping skills. So they can cope with everything that comes toward them, everything that comes at them, okay? I've seen people who call themselves leaders, they just totally lose it. When things go bad, they freak out, they lose it. Can't function. Can't preach, can't lead. Can't conduct the meeting, whatever they are responsible for. Well, that shows that makes me question their leadership capability. Because just because a person has a position doesn't make them a leader. Yeah, they're the leader because they got the position, but it doesn't mean they have the capacity to lead, okay? Position doesn't give you the capacity. Position only gives you the authority. And you need authority plus capacity. Are you listening to me? All right, so they are emotionally strong. They are resilient. And leaders cope very well because of their good attitude. They cope very well with change because change is inevitable. Change is going to happen in leadership. Change is going to happen in life. Change happens in the business. Change happens in the church. Change happens in the school system. Change happens all around us. Everything is changing constantly. As a matter of fact, anything that's not changing is probably dead because anything that's alive is constantly changing, okay? But leaders cope with change, okay? They cope with discouragement. They're all, discouraging moments come. Disappointment comes. Frustration. Things happen. But they cope with that. They cope with fatigue. tiredness. Yes, the work sometimes can weigh on us, and tiredness, and but fatigue is part of it. But sometimes you got to get that second win and keep going. Leaders cope with it. Leaders cope with failure. There's not a leader alive that has not experienced failure at one time or another. As a matter of fact, you look at the great successful leaders, when they talk about their journey, they mostly talk about the time they failed and how they bounced back and overcame. You look at sports, you look at championship teams. When they win the championship and they start interviewing them, what do they talk about mostly? The adversity they overcame, the tough times they had to go through, the failures they had to get up from. See, failure is just simply means I fell down. But the natural thing to do once you fall is to get back up, okay? Failure is staying down rather than get back up. Leaders get up and keep at the work. They cope with pressure. There's pressure in leadership. There's pressure in the job. There's pressure in the position. There's pressure making decisions. There's budgetary pressures. There are people type pressures. But leaders cope with them all. So leaders have a great attitude that gives them great coping skills. The next thing, leaders, in painting this picture, leaders live up to their commitments. Okay? They make commitments and they live up to them. As a matter of fact, if you want to create another name for success, it will be commitment. You'll have no great success that you lack that without commitment. As a matter of fact, you'll never be a great leader without commitment. Chapter 3 of my book, The ABCs of Leadership, I talk about commitment. And one of the things I say in that chapter, maybe chapter 4, is the chapter on commitment. One of the things I say in that chapter is the world has known 0 great leaders who lack commitment. Not 2, not 1, 0. There are no great leaders who lack commitment. The one underlying common denominator of every great leader is their commitment to what they do. And so leaders live up to their commitments. They understand commitment, but then they live up to the commitments they make, okay? They don't say one thing and do another. They don't commit to something and don't fulfill it. That's commitment. It's been said that in life, there are 2 kinds of pains we'll all face. You can't escape them. It's 2 kinds of pains you must face. You can't escape them. However, you can trade one for the other. Okay? So I'm going to face 2 kinds of pains. I can't escape them. I'm going to have to deal with one or the other. Or both of them. But I can trade one for the other. Here are the 2 pains. The pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Now, discipline involves what? Commitment. Okay. So I'm going to have to pay the pain of commitment or the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. All right? Now, the pain of discipline comes first because you don't get to be successful without commitment on the front end. You can't pay the bill at the back end. You have to pay up front. That's the discipline. The champions of sports arenas, they don't pay the price for the championship after they win the championship. They pay the price before they get there. The long hours of practice, the long workouts, the commitment, the sacrifice. You always pay for success on the front end. You always do it. Now, then comes the pain of regret after that. The best reason for trading the pain of regret for the pain of discipline is that the pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. So think about the people who regret that they didn't do certain things at a certain time and what it cost them, and that the weight of that character, the pain of regret weighs tons. It weighs on them for their whole life. Okay? Leaders don't live by their emotions. They live by their commitments. Okay? They live by their commitments. They live by their character. So leaders live up to their commitments. Leaders live up to it. So pay the price to be committed. Pay the price of discipline. And pay the price of commitment so that you will experience the pain of discipline and you will never know the pain of regret. Now, the last thing in this teaching on observation of leadership is that leaders are loyal to those over them. Remember I said there were 8 things, and I just gave them all to you. This is the 8th one. Leaders are loyal. And I told you from the very beginning that they were not in the order of importance. You know, one was not 1, 2 was not 2. They just scramble. Well, if there was one that's important, this would be it. Because in my opinion, this one is a major disqualifier. If you don't do this one well, you disqualify yourself. Leaders are loyal to those over them. This is a major disqualifier. Because if you are not loyal to the people you lead, to the people that lead you, then you are totally unqualified. Because no leader will bring people into their circle and empower them knowing that they're disloyal. Most of the time, disloyalty is kept undercover. The disloyal one, it starts with stuff in their heart, and while they play the role of loyalty, kind of like what Judas did. He played the role that he was loyal. Jesus knew him all the time. Other disciples didn't. This is a major disqualifier. I've always been loyal to those that were over me. As a matter of fact, one of the primary messages of my ministry is a message called on covenant. Covenant is all about loyalty. That's why it's called covenant. A marriage covenant. A husband and wife are loyal to one another. People make covenants. David made covenant with Jonathan. They were loyal. So much so that when Jonathan is dead and David is king, he remembers, is there anybody left of the house of Saul that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? So although Jonathan is dead, he's still being loyal to his relationship and covenant with Jonathan. Okay? So I've always been a person that valued loyalty. If there's one thing I hate, if there's one thing I detest, if there's one thing that I just utterly abhor, it would be disloyal. I hate disloyal people. I hate the spirit of disloyalty. I hate what it does. I just hate it because of my understanding of covenant. And so leaders are loyal. So although, again, the things we laid out are not in no order of importance, but this one right here is a major disqualifier. It disqualifies you from being a part of being a leader if you're not showing loyalty. Are you listening to me? So you have to be loyal. Disloyalty totally disqualifies you. Disloyalty totally nullifies anything you do within the organization. Because, in the 70s, there was a group called the OJs. They still out there. But they had a song called Backstabbers. And it said they smile in your face, but all the time they want to take your place, the backstabbers. And that's what disloyalty does. It's a backstabber. It's the spirit of Absalom. We see that in the Bible where Absalom turned on his father David and turned the hearts of the children of Israel against David. Disloyalty. So this is a major disqualifier. If you're a leader, be loyal to those over you. Be loyal to your pastor. Be loyal to your bishop. Be loyal to your apostle. Be loyal to the organization you're part of. If you're in a business, be loyal to your boss. Be loyal to the company. If you're in the church, you maybe not be loyal to the leadership of the church, the elders, the men, anybody that's over you. Whatever, how many layers down you may be, you be loyal to each layer above you. Loyalty is an indispensable trait that we need to see more of in the church. Okay? And so there you have it, my friends. Observations on leadership. Now listen, my time is just about up. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you were helped by this, and hope you'll be more loyal than you've ever been before. Now listen. My website, www.pronaldwilder.com. You see it there on the screen. It is the personal website of my personal ministry, not my church. That's covenantchurchinternational.org. But P. Ronald Wilder. Go to that website and you can see things about me. You can also purchase there on that website my book, The ABCs of Leadership. Now that book will bless you. It's been spread far and wide. That book actually turns 10 years old next year. It was written in 2015. And so it'll turn 10 years old. It's been on the market for 10 years. And go ahead and get it, The ABCs of Leadership, Principle for Personal Development. It's only going to cost you, I think, $13.95. But the information is well worth it, totally invaluable. Also on my website, you can go to my shop page on the website, and there you'll see all the outlines of my leadership teachings, okay? I have about 30 leadership teachings on there, some great ones. Some of them I really love. I got one called the 7 series, the 7 hardest people to lead, 7 traps for a leader, and things of that nature. So you'll enjoy that. So you can download any of them. They all, I think it's like $10 for a download, and so go ahead and do that. Now, the best buy on my website is the bundle package that you see here on the little jump drive. It's on the website. You'll get every leadership teaching is on that website on this for less than half of what you pay for on the website if you were to download every individual. This is a jump drive. With a jump, you can take it out, stick it in your device, listen to me, have it all the time. So go ahead, look at it. Think about getting the jump drive. Now, also, let me remind you, don't forget BGTV Studios, this platform and this network God is using in a mighty way. I want to admonish you and appeal to you to be a supporter of BGTV Studios. There are several ways you can do that. It's on the screen now, the ways to give. You can give online at bgtvstudios.com. Or you can text any amount to 84321. Please pray about being a monthly supporter. Or if you don't want to be a monthly supporter, give a good one-time gift donation. We, the podcasters, receive nothing from what you give, 100%, so it goes to support of BGTV Studios, okay? Thank you. I appreciate you for being obedient there. Listen, my time is up. We'll be back next Tuesday. This is your host, Dr. P. Ronald Wilder, signing off by reminding you of the 2 things I always remind you of. Leadership matters and leaders lead. God bless you. Have a great week. I'll see you next Tuesday.